Hi, everyone. Hi. I hope you have had a lovely Christmas. Hi. Oh, naughty Mikey. Naughty Mikey. Yeah, it sounds kinda sus. Oh yeah, I forgot to do something. Event. Was it there? No, it wasn't. There was commands. Uh, wasn't that? It was that. And then it was this. And then it was here. Here. No. Here. 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 No. There we go. There. Here. Here. Save. Yeah. There. Yeah. But Jen, you also forgot me. Oh, there was it. Go away. Okay, I can't remove it now. One pin. Okay, I don't know if there is a pinned message, but if there is, please tell me. I misclicked. So good. Jin, try your new high. I said your new high. So Jin high. There you go. Now I need to make it smaller. 150 times 150. And if we try that and that. Can you try it again, Jin? That was a bit too far. What about now? Should it... Yeah, I'm shrinking the kits. So like 1% and 2%. So let's see if it fits now. Almost. There we go. Now it should fit. Yay! Yay me. So yes, today is the last stream of the year, and it is also the last chapter of the second book. Yay! Yeah, oh my god. We reached 489 this year of followers. I always like a hug. So yeah, the goal for next year is at least 500 followers. Yes, at least 500 followers for next year. Yes. Well, if we get to 500 before in 2 days, but before we go over to 2025 at CET, then I'm gonna make a giveaway. Yes. Oh, my Q weirdo. It's funny. Don't stop with it. I think I'm gonna give away some of my merch. But I'm still to figure out what Morch pork is. It might be might be one of my book bun mugs, which you can only get if you have subscribed to what is it, library or kingdom tier on my fourth wall. Nice, Mike. Nice. I can't even. You can't take your own. um, but yes, the library tier or the kingdom tier. Then you can get the book bun. Hi Jade, welcome in. Nice to see you. Woo! I landed. Woohoo! I am gonna find here. Okay. Ooh, you. Okay. So everyone, if we reach 500 followers before New Year's, or before the new year, I'm gonna give away one of these. Oh boy. One of the book bonds cups. And here, euro. There. I'm gonna give away one of these. And it has the book bond on both sides of the cup. So either, it doesn't matter if you are left or right-handed, you can still show off the book bond. And what is that you drink, like, with the handle on your chin or what?
A new bunny just hopped into the library. Thank you.
For fluff's sake, boy. Oh my god. How am I supposed to make a cup for that? I can't make a cup for that. That one. Well, it works for those as well then. Because it works for left hand, it works for right hand. It just doesn't work if you use both hands. So yes. Yes, exactly. I just wouldn't suggest that you chuck the tea if you have that in, because that's kinda hot. Oh my god, that's funny. Oh my god. Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay. So yes. Here we go. I need to send this to Earthling. Forward. Earthling. here. There. Here. Oh, that's kind of funny. Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, that made me laugh. Mm, but what is everyone's plans for the new year? Apparently, here it is to burn like 80 million euro from using fireworks. Oh, that sounds nice. You don't have to have big plans to have a good new year. So just to appreciate this for the last time, you guys can see here. This is made by May Creature. Jin! We need the shout out. That is fair, Mike. That is very fair. Music is broken? Again? Hmm. Okay, if we try to do that and that, can you tell me if it's still broken? Well, all of our shit just get imported through the boat from Rostock and to Denmark. Yay! So happy. Awesome. I think within the last week, they have found approximately, I think it was 3 to 4 ton of illegal fireworks, like which is not approved in Denmark or in the EU for that sake. Um, yeah. So the first one was actually not far from my place. That was 1.5 ton. Yeah, which they found, and yeah, that was also big things. It was firecrackers, which was I think they were 300 and 400 gram. That's like quite massive. And it's insanely dangerous to work with because it's usually not the most bright ones which get hands on those things. People are really so fucking dumb. Like, the fucking plane is the worst place you can do it. Is the place with so much security that you rarely get anything through that place. Like, ship it to Hungary or or something, and then ship it to Europe from there, like with car or something. But don't do it by fucking plane. Well, technically, if it comes to the point um where we have like a crisis here, I could be doing that and also do it legally in Denmark. That could be fun. Hmm. Yeah, that could be very fun. Yeah, for some reason it most of the things which come into Denmark also come from Poland. But here it comes by truck. So it's usually sent by their usual postal service and then sent up through our postal service. But like the last month, I haven't been able to sleep properly because of all the fireworks. And even though you get like a 350 € fine for using the fireworks outside of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, yeah, they can't do shit because they need to catch them in the act. Doesn't matter when they do it right out your window, Earthling. Like sometimes it has exploded less than 10 meters from my apartment. Doesn't matter. Yeah, in my opinion, they should just ban it. And let the professionals handle it. And then like do it like hire someone. Then people can hire someone to do it. It would. It would actually be nicer than this. Here we have had people shoot firework into people's houses and after people, and also after rescue personnel like firemen and paramedics and such, which in my opinion is just, it's a lack of moral, it's a lack of consequences for people's actions. Now, in my opinion, don't do that. Just put paintball guns and cameras on the fire trucks. And then just let them use it. You can't really say anything against a camera. Oh, hi guys. Hi. Welcome in. So yeah. In the military and home guard, people are learning action has consequences. Sometimes when we train with something called FX ammunition, and that is basically a paintball within a hardball within a bullet. In a bullet casing. Sorry, bullet casing. And then you run around with mask and protective gear, of course, because they hurt like hell. But when people put their head out and they get one of these pellets right to the face, that's when they learn. I shouldn't have done that. I am feeling well today, Gus. What about you? So just let the police and the home guard have fun with FX ammunition. Because you're not dying from it. It just hurts like hell. It's like a close up hardball shot to like your inner thigh. Yeah, but you can't do that in Denmark or the EU because guns are restricted as fluff in the EU. They are primarily used for hunting or protective services, like the police or the army or home guard or just in general the national defense. So yeah, that's just fun. Good morning, wifey. But yes, on to reading the last chapter. And I have a bun bun which want to say hi. Hi.
I'm late.
Oh,
I'm late.
thank you, Gus. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um. Okay. Now I think I know what is doing me wrong. I do not have Plit like right next to me. Uh, huh. There's none of that. There's none of that. Interesting. I don't know. Is it only me? It shows like the subscription thingy double for, or well, maybe it's just me being confused. I don't know. Oh, fair enough. It's just because it shows double on my screen. um. Oh, 2 seconds. Is it because of this? Hmm. No. Well, interesting. Oh, but thank you for the sub, Gus. I really appreciate it. Eh. So yes. Chapter 10. The choices of Master Samwise. Frodo was lying face upward on the ground and the monster was bending over him, so intent upon her victim that she took no heed of Sam and his cries until he was close at hand. As he rushed up, he saw that Frodo was already bound in cords, wound about him from ankle to shoulder, and the monster with her great forelegs was beginning half to lift, half to drag his body away. On the near side of him lay gleaming on the ground his elven blade, where it had fallen useless from his grasp. Sam did not wait to wonder what was to be done, or whether he was brave or loyal or filled with rage. He sprang forward with a yell and seized his master's sword in his left hand. Then he charged. No onslaught more fierce was ever seen in the savage world of beasts, where some desperate small creature armed with little teeth alone will spring upon a tower of horn and hide that stands above its fallen mate. Disturbed as if out of some gloating dream, by his small yell, she turned slowly the dreadful malice of her glance upon him. But almost before she was aware that a fury was upon her greater than any she had known in countless years, the shining sword bit upon her foot and shore away the claw. Sam sprang inside the arches of her legs, and with a quick upthrust of his other hand, stabbed at the clustered eyes upon her lower head. One great eye went dark. Now the miserable creature was right under her, for the moment out of the reach of her sting and of her claws. Her vast belly was above him, with its putrid light, and the stench of it almost smote him down. Still, his fury held for one more blow, and before she could sink upon him, smothering him and all his little impudence of courage, he slashed the bright elven blade across her with desperate strength. But Shelob was not as dragons are. No softer spot had she save only her eyes. Knobbed and pithed with corruption was her age-old hide, but ever thickened from within with layer on layer of evil growth. The blade scored it with a dreadful gash, but those hideous folds could not be pierced by any strength of man, not though elf or dwarf should forge the steel of, or the hand of Beren or of Turin wield it. She yielded to the stroke, and then heaved up the great back of her belly high above Sam's head. Poison frothed and bubbled from the wound. Now splaying her legs, she drove her huge bulk down on him again. Too soon, for Sam still stood upon his feet, and dropping his own sword, with both hands he held the elven blade point upwards, fending off the ghastly roof, and so Shelob, with the driving force of her own cruel will, with strength greater than any warrior's hand, thrust herself upon a bitter spike. Deep, deep it pricked, as Sam was crushed slowly to the ground. No such anguish had Shelob ever known, or dreamed of knowing, in all her long world of wickedness. Not the not the doughtiest soldier of old Gondor, nor the most savage orc entrapped, had ever thus endured her, or set blade to her beloved flesh. A shudder went through her, heaving up again, wrenching away from the pain, She bent her writhing limbs beneath her and sprang backwards in a convulsive leap. Sam had fallen to his knees by Frodo's head, his senses reeling in the foul stench, his two hands still gripping the hilt of the sword. Through the mist before his eyes, he was aware dimly of Frodo's face, and stubbornly he fought to master himself and to drag himself out of the swoon that was upon him. Slowly he raised his head and saw her, only a few paces away, eyeing him, her beak grappling with spittle of venom, and a green ooze trickling from below her wounded eye. There she crouched, her shuddering belly splayed upon the ground, the great boughs of her legs quivering, as she gathered herself for another spring. Time to crush and sting to death. No little bite of poison to still the struggling of her meat. This time to slay and then to rend. Even as Sam himself crouched, looking at her, seeing his death in her eyes, a thought came to him, as if some remote voice had spoken, and he fumbled in his breast with his left hand, and found what he sought. Cold and hard and solid it seemed to his touch, in a phantom world of horror, the vial of Galadriel. Galadriel, he said faintly, and then he heard voices far off but clear, the crying of the elves as they walked under the stars in the beloved shadows of the Shire, and the music of the elves as it came through his sleep in the hall of fire in the house of Elrond. Gilthoniel al Elbereth, and then his tongue was loosed, and his voice cried in a language which he did not know. A Elbereth Gilthoniel, o Menel Palandriel, Lenanol si Dingrostos, a Tyronin Fanulos. And with that he staggered to his feet, and was Samwise the Hobbit, Hamfast's son again. Now come, you filth, he cried. You have hurt my master, you brute, and you will pay for it. We are going on, but we'll settle with you first. Come on and taste it again. As if his indomitable spirit had set its potency in motion, the glass blazed suddenly like a white torch in his hand. It flamed like a star that, leaping from the firmament, sears the dark air with intolerable light. No such terror out of heaven had ever burned in Shelob's face before. The beams of it entered into her wounded head and scored it with unbearable pain, and a dreadful infection of light spread from eye to eye. She fell back, beating the air with her forelegs, her sight blasted by inner lightnings, her mind in agony. Then turning her maimed head away, she rolled aside and began to crawl, claw by claw, towards the opening in the dark cliff behind. Sam came on. He was reeling like a drunken man, but he came on. At Shelob, cowed at last, shrunken in defeat, jerked and quivered as she tried to hasten from him. She reached the hole, and squeezing down, leaving a trail of green and yellow slime she slipped in. Even as Sam hewed a last stroke of her dragging legs, then he fell to the ground. Shelob was gone, and with her she lay long in her lair, nursing her malice and her misery, and in slow years of darkness healed herself from within, rebuilding her clustered eyes, until with hunger like death she spun once more her dreadful snares in the glens of the mountains of shadow. This tale does not tell. Sam was left alone, wearily as the evening of the nameless land fell upon the place of battle. He crawled back to his master. Master, dear master, he said. But Frodo did not speak. As he had run forward, eager, rejoicing to be free, Shelob with hideous speed had come behind, and with one swift stroke had stung him in the neck. He lay now pale, and heard no voice, and did not move. Master, dear master, said Sam, and through a long silence waited, listening in vain. Then, as quickly as he could, he cut away the binding cords, and laid his head upon Frodo's breast, and to this mouth, but no stir of life could he find, nor feel the faintest flutter of the heart. Often he chafed his master's hand and feet, and touched his brow, but all were cold. Frodo, Mr. Frodo, he called, don't leave me here, alone. It's your Sam calling. Don't go where I can't follow. Wake up, Mr. Frodo. Oh, wake up, Frodo, my dear, me dear. Wake up. Okay, so in a couple of minutes we're gonna have an ad, just so you guys know. I will pause my reading throughout the ad. Then anger surged over him, and he ran about his master's body in rage. Hi, Placenta, hi. Why did the ad go? It's nice to see you, Placenta. It has been a very long time. Huh. I'll probably know at some time. Yeah. I'm really glad to see you back on Twitch. It has been a very long time. Okay. Then anger surged over him, and he ran about his master's body in rage, stabbing the air and smiting the stones and shouting challenges. Presently he came back, and bending looked at Frodo's face, pale beneath him in the dusk. And suddenly he saw that he was in the picture that was revealed to him in the mirror of Galadriel in Lorien. Frodo, with a pale face, lying fast asleep under a great dark cliff. Or fast asleep, he had thought then. He's dead, he said. Not asleep, dead. And as he said it, as if the words had set the venom to its work again, it seemed to him that the hue of the face grew livid green. And then black despair came down on him, and Sam bowed to the ground and drew his grey hood over his head, and night came into his heart, and he knew no more. When at last the blackness passed, Sam looked up, and shadows were about him. But for how many minutes or hours the world had gone dragging on he could not tell. He was still in the same place, and still his master lay beside him, dead. The mountains had not crumbled, nor the earth fallen into ruin. Hi, Tammy. Hi. Magic is here as well, if she hasn't fallen asleep yet. What shall I do? What shall I do? He said. Did I come all this way with him for nothing? And then he remembered his own voice speaking words that at the time he did not understand himself. At the beginning of the journey, I have something to do before the end. I must see it through, sir, if you understand. But what can I do? Not leave Mr. Frodo dead, unburied on the top of the mountains, and go home, or go on, he repeated, and for a moment doubt and fear shook him. Go on, is that what I've got to do? And leave him? Then at last he began to weep, and going to Frodo, he composed his body and folded his cold hands upon his breast and wrapped his cloak about him. He laid his own sword at one side and the staff that Faramir had given at the other. If I am to go on, he said, then I must take your sword by your leave, Mr. Frodo. But I'll put this one to lie by you, as it lay by the old king in the barrow. And you've got your beautiful mithril coat from old Mr. Bilbo. And your star glass, Mr. Frodo. You did lend it to me, and I need it. For I'll be always in the dark now. It's too good for me, and the lady gave it to you, but maybe she'd understand. Oh, that happened. Do you understand, Mr. Frodo? I got to go on. And for everyone who do not know, I also have a YouTube. Eh, where you can see all of my readings. I upload them directly as streams. So yeah. But you can listen to the first and the second book after today on my YouTube channel. But he could not go yet. Not yet. He knelt and held Frodo's hand. It is going very well, thank you, Tammy. I hope it's not very early down there. Oh. Nah, that's not bad. It's only 8 a.m. That's not too bad, is it? Ooh, nice. How long did you walk? Oh, you walked 11 kilometers this morning. How long is that taking? 2.5 hours? That's nice. That's not bad. I'm almost sure that I have something. Mm, 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 mm. I need to find something on my phone. I need to show you. Bunnies. Here. So, Tammy, is this you? I have a lot of bunnies, and I love to show them off. Um, okay, if the ads are coming, then please let it go, because I can't really continue without knowing when it comes. That There we go. Mm. What was it I was looking for? It was that command, yes. Because now the gin bun is not here, I wanna show you these people. These people are, as it says, people who has helped me a lot with art for my stream. So if you could give them a follow. Huh. Well, apparently someone didn't like me, because we're down to 489 followers again. What to do? People are not supposed to like me like everyone else. Uh, Hmm. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it was Zika. Because Zika liked me. I don't know. I don't know who it was, and it doesn't fluffing matter. But yes, we have to go on. So yes. So I think it was here we went to. But he could not go on. Not yet. He knelt and held Frodo's hand, and could not release it. And time went by, and still he knelt, holding his master's hand, and in his heart keeping it bayed. Now he tried to find strength to tear himself away and go on a lonely journey for vengeance. If once he could go, his ankle would bear him down all the roads of the world, pursuing until he had him at last, Gollum. Then Gollum would die in a corner. But that was not what he had set out to do. It would not be worthwhile to leave his master for that. It would not bring him back. Nothing would. They had better both be dead together. And that too would be a lonely journey. He looked on the bright point of the sword. He thought of the places behind where there was a black brink and empty fall into nothingness. There was no escape that way. That was to do nothing, not even to grieve. That was not what he had set out to do. What am I to do then? He cried again, and now he seemed painfully to know the hard answer. See it through. Another lonely journey, and the worst. What? Me? Alone? Go to the crack of doom and all? He quailed still, but the resolve grew. What? Me take the ring from him? The council gave it to him. But the answer came at once, and the council gave him companions, so that the errand should not fail. And you are the last of all the company. The errand must not fail. I wish I wasn't the last, he groaned. I wish old Gandalf was here, or somebody. Why am I left all alone to make up my mind? I'm sure to go wrong, and it's not for me to go taking the ring, putting myself forward. Eh. But you haven't put yourself forward. You've been put forward. And as for not being the right and proper person, why? Mr. Frodo wasn't, as you might say, nor Mr. Bilbo. They didn't choose themselves. Oh well, I must make up my own mind. I will make it up, but I'll be sure to go wrong. That be Sam Gamgee all over. Let me see now. If we are found here, or Mr. Frodo's found, and that thing's on him, well, the enemy will get it. And that's the end of all of us, of Lothian, and Riverdale, and the Shire, and all. And there's no time to lose, or it will be end anyway. The war's begun, and more than likely things are all going the enemy's way already. No chance to go back with it and get advice or permission. No, it's it's still it's sit here till they come and kill me over master's body and gets it, or take it and go. He drew a deep breath. Then take it is. He stooped. Very gently he undid the clasp at the neck and slipped his hand inside Frodo's tunic. Then with other hand, raising the head, he kissed the cold forehead and softly drew the chain over it. And then the head lay quietly back again in rest. No change came over the still face, or by that more than by all other tokens, Sam was convinced at last that Frodo had died and laid aside the quest. Goodbye, master, my dear, he murmured. Forgive your Sam. He'll come back to this spot when the job's done, if he manages it. And then he will not leave you again. Rest you quiet till I come, and may no foul creature come anigh you. And if the lady could hear me and give me one wish, I would wish to come back and find you again. Goodbye. And then he bent over his own neck and put the chain upon it, and at once his head was bowed to the ground with the weight of the ring, as if a great stone had been hung on him. But slowly, as the weight became less, or new strength grew in him, he raised his head, and then with a great effort got to his feet, and found that he could walk and bear this burden. And for a moment he lifted up the vial and looked down at his master, and the light burned gently now with soft radiance of the evening star in summer. And in that light, Frodo's face was fair of hue again, pale but beautiful with an elvish beauty, as of one who has long past the shadows. And with the bitter comfort of that last sight, Sam turned and hid the light and stumbled on into the growing dark. He had not far to go. The tunnel was some way behind, the cleft a couple of 100 yards ahead, or less. The path was visible in the dusk, a deep rut worn in ages of passage, running now gently in a long through with cliffs on either side. The trough narrowed rapidly. Soon Sam came to a long flight of broad shallow steps. Now the Orc Tower was right above him, frowning black, and in it the red-eyed glowed. Now he was hidden in the dark shadow under it. He was coming to the top of the steps, and was in the cleft at last. I've made up my mind, he kept saying to himself. But he had not. Though he had done his best to think it out, what he was doing was altogether against the grain of his nature. Have I got it wrong? He muttered. What ought I to have done? That was a weird sentence. As the sheer sides of the cleft closed about him, before he reached the actual summit. Before he looked at last on the path descending into the nameless land, he turned. For a moment, motionless in intolerable doubt, he looked back. For a moment, motionless in untold. He could still see, like a small blot in the gathering gloom, the mouth of the tunnel, and he thought he could see or guess where Frodo lay. He fancied there was a glimmer on the ground down there, and perhaps it was some trick of his tears as he peered out of that high stony place where all his life had fallen in ruin. If only I could have any wish, my one wish, he sighed, to go back and find him. Then at last he turned to the road in front and took a few steps, the heaviest and the most reluctant he had ever taken. Yeah. Only a few steps, and now only a few more, and he would be going down and would never see that high place again. And then suddenly he heard cries and voices. He stood still as a stone. Orc voices. They were behind him and before him. A noise of tramping feet and harsh shouts. Orcs were coming up to the cleft from the far side, from some entry to the tower, perhaps. Tramping feet and shouts behind. He wheeled round. He saw small red lights, torches, winking away below, there as they issued from the tunnel. At last the hunt was up. The red eye of the tower had not been blind. He was caught. Now the flicker of approaching torches and the clink of steel ahead was very near. In a minute they could reach the top and be on him. He had taken too long in making up his mind, and now it was no good. How could he escape? Or save himself? Or save the ring? The ring! He was not aware of any thought or decision. He simply found himself drawing out the chain and taking the ring in his hand. The head of the orc company appeared in the cleft right before him. Then he put it on. The world changed, and a single moment of time was filled with an hour of thought. At once he was aware that hearing was sharpened while sight was dimmed, but otherwise than in Shelob's lair. All things about him now were not dark, but vague, while he himself was there in grey hazy world, alone like a small black solid rock, and the ring, weighing down on his left hand, was like an orb of hot gold. He did not feel invisible at all, but horribly and uniquely visible. And he knew that somewhere an eye was searching for him. He heard the crack of stone and the murmur of water far off in Morgul Vale, and the down away under the rock, the bubbling misery of Shelob, groping, lost in some blind passage, and voices in the dungeons of the tower, and the cries of the orcs as they came out of the tunnel, and deafening roaring in his ears, the crash of his feet, and the rending clamor of the orcs before him. He shrank against the cliff, but they marched up like a phantom company, grey distorted figures in a mist, only dreams of fear with pale flames in their hands. And they passed him by. He cowered, trying to creep away in some cranny and to hide. He listened. The orcs from the tunnel and the others marching down had sighted one another, and both parties were now hurrying and shouting. He heard them both clearly, and he understood what they said. Perhaps the ring gave understanding of tongues, or simply understanding, especially of the servants of Sauron, its maker, so that if he gave heed, he understood and translated the thought to himself. Certainly the ring had grown greatly in power as it approached the places of its forging, but one thing it did not confer, and that was courage. At present, Sam still thought only of hiding, of lying low till all was quiet again, and he listened anxiously. He could not tell how near the voices were. The words seemed almost in his ears. Hola, Gorbek. What are you doing up here? Had enough of war already? Orders, you lubber. And what are you doing, Shagrat? Tired of lurking up here? Thinking of coming down to fight? Orders to you. I'm in command of this pass, so speak civil. What's your report? Nothing. Hi, oi. A yell broke out in the exchanges of the leaders. The orcs lower down had suddenly seen something. They began to run. So did the others. Hi, hola. Here's something. Lying right in the road. A spy! A spy! There was a hoot of snarling horns and a babble of baying voices. With a dreadful stroke, Sam was wakened from his cowering mood. They had seen his master. What would they do? He had heard tales of the orcs to make the blood run cold. It could not be borne. He sprang up. He flung the quest and all of his decisions away, and fear and doubt with them. He knew now where his place was and had been, and his master's side, though what he could do there was not clear. Back he ran down the steps, down the path towards Frodo. How many are there, he thought? 30 or 40 from the tower at least, and a lot more than that from down below. I guess. How many can I kill before they get me? They'll see the flame of the sword as soon as I draw it, and they'll get me sooner or later. I wonder if any song will ever mention it. How Samwise fell in the high pass and made a wall of bodies round his master. No, no song. Of course not. For the ring will be found, and there'll be no more songs. I can't help it. My place is by Mr. Frodo. They must understand that, Elrond and the council, and the great lords and ladies with all their wisdom. Their plans have gone wrong. I can't be their ring bearer, not without Mr. Frodo. But the orcs were out of his dim sight now. He had had no time to consider himself. But now he realized that he was weary almost to exhaustion. His legs would not carry him as he wished. He was too slow. The path seemed miles long. Where had they all got to in the mist? There they were again, a good way ahead still, a cluster of figures round something lying on the ground. A few seemed to be darting this way and that, bent like a dog on the trail. He tried to make a spurt. Come on, Sam, he said, or you'll be late. You'll be too late again. He loosened the sword in its sheath. In a minute he would draw it, and then There was a wild clamor, hooting and laughing, as something was lifted up from the ground. Yahoi, hurry, hoy, up, up. Then a voice shouted, now off, the quick way, back to the undergate. She'll not trouble us again by all the signs. The whole band of orc figures began to move. 4 in the middle were carrying a body high on their shoulders. Yahoi! They had taken Frodo's body. They were off. He could not catch up with them. Still he had labored on. The orcs reached the tunnel and were passing in. Those with the burden went first, and behind them there was a good deal of struggling and jostling. Sam came on. He drew the sword, a flicker of blue in his wavering hand, but they did not see it. Even as he came panting up, the last of them vanished into the black hole. For a moment he stood, gasping, clutching his breast. Then he drew his sleeve across his face, wiping away the grime and sweat and tears. Curse the filth, he said, and sprang after them into the darkness. It no longer seemed very dark to him in the tunnel. Rather, it was as if he had stepped out of a thin mist into a heavier fog. His weariness was growing, but his will hardened all the more. He thought he could see the light of torches a little way ahead, but try as he would, he could not catch them. Orcs go fast in tunnels, and this tunnel they knew. For in spite of Shelob, they were forced to use it often as the swiftest way from the dead city over the mountains. In what far off time the main tunnel and a great round pit had been made, where Shelob had taken up her abode in ages past, they did not know, but many byways they had themselves delved about in on either side, so as to escape the lair in their goings to and fro on the business of the masters. Tonight they did not intend to go far down, but were hastening to find a side passage that led to the watchtower on the cliff. Most of them were gleeful, delighted with what they had found and seen, and as they ran, they gabbled and yammered after the fashion of the kind. Sam heard the noise of their harsh voices, flat and hard in the dead air, and he could distinguish 2 voices from among all the rest. They were louder and nearer to him. The captains of the 2 parties seemed to be bringing up the rear, debating as they went. Ugh. Okay, I need to go and get something to hydrate on. So I'm gonna be back in a little bit. I am back. And I got water. Nom nom. Cookies. So yes. Can't you stop your rapple? Making such a racket, Shagrat, grunted the one. We don't want Shield up on us. Go on, Gobak. Yours are making more than half the noise, said the other. But let the lads play. No need to worry about Sheila for a bit, I reckon. She sat on a nail, it seems. And we shan't cry about that. Did you see? A nasty mess all the way back to that cursed crack of hers. If we've stopped it once, we've stopped it 100 times. So let them laugh. And we struck a bit of luck at last. Got something that Lockbirds wants. Lockbirds wants it? What is it, do you think? Elvish it looks to me, but undersized. What's the danger in a thing like that? Don't know till we had a look. Oh, so they haven't told you what to expect? They don't tell us all they know, do they? Not by half. But they can make mistakes. Even the top ones can. Shh! Go back. Shagrad's voice was lowered, so that even with his strangely sharpened hearing, Sam could only just catch what was said. They may, but they got eyes and ears everywhere. Some among my lot, as like as not. But there's no doubt about it. They're troubled about something. The Nazgul down below are, by your account, and Luxbur's is too. Something nearly slipped. Nearly, you say? Said Gorback. All right, said Shagrat, but we'll talk of that later. Wait till we get to the underway. There's a place there where we can talk a bit while the lads go on. Shortly afterwards, Sam saw the torches disappear. Hi, Noxus. Hi. Thank you. Eh. Shortly afterwards, Sam saw the torches disappear. Then there was a rumbling noise, and just as he hurried up, a bump. As far as he could guess, the orcs had turned and gone into the very opening which Frodo and he had tried and found blocked. It was still blocked. There seemed to be a great stone in the way, but the orcs had got through somehow, for he could hear their voices on the other side. They were still running along, deeper and deeper into the mountain, back towards the tower. Sam felt desperate. They were carrying off his master's body for some foul purpose, and he could not follow. He thrust and pushed at the block, and he threw himself against it, but it did not yield. Then, not far inside, or so he thought, he heard the two captains' voices talking again. He stood still listening for a little, hoping perhaps to learn something useful. Perhaps Gorbag, who seemed to belong to Minas Morgul, would come out and he could slip in. No, I don't know, said Gorbag's voice. The message goes through quicker than anything could fly, as a rule. But I don't inquire how it's done. Safest not to. Grah. Those Nazguls give me the creeps. And they skin the body off you as soon as you look at you, and leave you all cold in the dark on the other side. But he likes them. They're his favorites nowadays. So it's no use grumbling. I tell you, it's no game serving down in the city. You should try being up here with Sheila for company, said Shagrat. I'd like to try somewhere where there's none of them. But the war's on now, and when that's over, things may be easier. It's going well, they say. They would, grunted Gorbag. We'll see. But anyway, if it does go well, there should be a lot more room. What you say? If we get a chance, you and me'll slip off and set up somewhere on our own with a few trusty lads. Somewhere where there's good loot, nice and handy, and no big bosses. Ah, said Shagrat. Like old times. Yes, said Gorbag, but don't count on it. I'm not easy in my mind. As I said, the big bosses, his voice sank almost to a whisper, even the biggest can make mistakes. Something nearly slipped, you say. I say, something has slipped. And we got to look out. Always the poor Uruks to put slips right. At small thanks. But don't forget, the enemies don't love us any more than they love him. And if they get topsides on him, we're done too. But see here, when were you ordered out? About an hour ago, just before you saw us. A message came, Nazgul uneasy, spies feared on stairs, double vigilance, patrol to head of stairs. I came at once. Bad business, said Gorbag. See here, our silent watchers were uneasy more than 2 days ago, and I know, but my patrols was ordered out for another day, nor any messages sent to Luxburst either, owing the great signal growing up, and the High Nazgul going off to war, and all that, and then they couldn't get Luxburst to pay attention for a good while, I'm told. The eye was busy elsewhere, I suppose, said Shagrat. Big things going on away west, they say. I dare say, growled Gorbag. But in the meantime, enemies have got up the stairs. And what were you up to? You're supposed to keep watch, aren't you? Special orders or no? What are you for? That's enough. Don't try to teach me my job. We were awake all night. We knew there were funny things going on. Very funny. Yes, very funny. Lights and shouting and all. But Sheila was on the go. My lad saw her and her sneak. Her sneak? What's that? You must have seen him. Little, thin, black fellow, like a spider himself, or perhaps more like a starved frog. He's been here before, came out of Luxembourg for the first time years ago, and we had word from high up to let him pass. He's been up the stairs once or twice since then, but we left him alone. Seems to have some understanding with her ladyship. I suppose he's no good to eat. She wouldn't worry about words from the high up. But a fine guard you keep in the valley. He was up here a day ago, before all this racket. Early last night we saw him. Anyway, my lads reported that her ladyship was having some fun, and that seemed good enough for me until a message came. I thought her sneak had brought her a toy, or that you'd perhaps sent her a present, a prisoner of war or something. I don't interfere when she's playing. Nothing gets by Sheila when she's on the hunt. Nothing, say you. Didn't you use your eyes back there? I tell you, I'm not easy in my mind. Whatever came up the stairs did get by. It caught her web and got clean out of the hole. That's something to think about. Ah well, but she got him in the end, didn't she? Got him? Got who? This little fellow? But if he was the only one, then she'd have him off to her larder long before. And there he'd be now. And if Lockbird wanted him, you'd have to go and get him. Nice for you, but there was more than one. At this point Sam began to listen more attentively, and pressed his ear against the stone. Who cut the cords she put around him? Shagrat. Same one as cut the webs. Didn't you see that? And who stuck a pin into her ladyship? Same one, I reckon. And where is he? Where is he, Shagrat? Shagrat made no reply. You may well put your thinking cap on if you got one. It's no laughing matter. No one has ever stuck a pin in Sheila before, as you should know well enough. There's no grief in that, but think there's someone loose here about, as in more dangerous than any other damned rebel that ever walked since the bad old times, since the great siege. Something has slipped. And what is it then? Growled Shagrat. By all signs, Captain Shagrat, I'd say there's a large warrior loose. Elf, most likely. With an elf sword, anyway. And an axe as well, maybe. And he's loose in your bounds, too. And you never spotted him. Very funny indeed, Gorback spat. Sam smiled grimly at this description of himself. Ah well, you always did take a gloomy view, said Shagrat. You can read the signs how you like, but there may be other ways to explain them. Anyhow, I've got watchers at every point, and I'm going to deal with one thing at a time. When I've had to look at a fellow we have caught, then I'll begin to worry about something else. It's my guess you won't find much in that little fellow, said Gorback. He may have nothing to do with the real mischief. The big bag with the sharp sword doesn't seem to have thought himself worth much anyhow. Just left him lying, regular Elvis trick. We'll see. Come on now. You talked enough. Let's go and have a look at the prisoner. What are you going to do with him? Don't forget I spotted him first. If there's any game, and me and my lads must be in it. Now, growled Shagrat. I have my orders, and it's more than my belly's worth, and yours, to break 'em. Any trespasser found by the guard is to be held at the tower. Prisoner is to be stripped. Full description of every article, garment, weapon, letter, ring, or trinket is to be sent to Luxburg's at once, and to Luxburg's only. And the prisoner is to be kept safe and intact under pain of death for every member of the guard until he sends or comes himself. That's plain enough, and that's what I'm going to do. Stripped, eh? Said Gorbak. What, teeth, nails, hair, and all? No, none of that. He's for Luxburg, I tell you. He's wanted safe and whole. You'll find that difficult, laughed Gorbak. He's nothing but carrion now. What Luxburg would do with such stuff, I can't guess. He might as well go into the pot. You fool, snarled Shagrat. You've been talking very clever, but there's a lot you don't understand. Though most folk do. You'll be for the pot of a Shelob if you don't take care. Carry on. Is that all you know of her ladyship? When she binds with cords, she's after meat. She doesn't eat dead meat, nor suck cold blood. This fellow isn't dead. Sam reeled, clutching at the stone. He felt as if the whole dark world was turning upside down. So great was the shock that he felt almost swooned, but even as he fought to keep a hold on his senses, deep inside him he was aware of the comment. You fool, he isn't dead, and your heart knew it. Don't trust your head, Samwise. It's not the best part of you. The trouble with you is that you never really had any hope. Now what is to be done? For the moment nothing, but to prop himself against the unmoving stone and listen. Listen to the vile orc voices. Garn, said Shagrat. She got more than one poison. When she's hunting, she just gives them a dab in the neck, and they go limp as boned fish. And then she has her way with them. Do you remember old Off-Track? We lost him for days. Then we found him in a corner. Hanging up he was. But he was wide awake and glaring. How we laughed. She'd forgotten him, maybe. But we didn't touch him. No good interfering with her. Nah, this little filth, he'll wake up in a few hours, and beyond feeling a bit sick for a bit, he'll be alright. Or would be, if Luxbert would let him alone. And of course, beyond wondering where he is, or what happened to him, and what's going to happen to him, laughed Gorbak. We can tell him a few stories at any rate. If we can't do anything else, I don't suppose he's ever been in lovely Luxburg, so he may like to know what to expect. This is going to be a lot more funny than I thought. Let's go. There's going to be no fun, I tell you, Shagrat. And he got to be kept safe, or we all as good as dead. All right, but if I were you, I'd catch the big one. That's loose, before you send in any report to Luxburg. It won't sound too pretty to say you've caught the kitten and let the cat escape. The voices began to move away. Sam heard the sound of feet receding. He was recovering from his shock, and now a wild fury Hi, troll. While fury was on him. I got it all wrong, he cried. You are late. Knives, spent the forks, plastic bottles and burn the corks. That's the vessels I pat the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hate. Thought the brought Bill the mat. Even water the pretty mat. To got him at the sore. Sat down on every door. Sat down also roll. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. He's here. You are late, troll. You are late by 2 hours. Did you at least finish your ticket for tomorrow? Thank you, Earthling. Oh god. Wow, troll. Wow. Imagine thinking Squid Games is more important than the bunny. Wow. I got it all wrong, he cried. I knew I would. Now they got him, the devils, the filth. They never leave your master. Never, never. That was my right rule. And I knew in my heart, may I be forgiven. Now I've got to get back to him. Somehow, somehow. He drew his sword again and beat it on the stone with the hilt, and it only gave a dull sound. The sword, however, blazed so brightly now that he could see dimly in its light. Yeah. But this is all which is left of today. So did you finish your ticket? Wasn't you supposed to use it for tomorrow? Good. To his surprise, he noticed that the great block was shaped like a heavy door. It was less than twice his own height. Above it, a dark blank space between the top and the low arch of the opening. It was probably only meant to be a stop against the intrusion of Shelob, fastened on the inside with some latch, or bolt beyond the reach of her cunning. With his remaining strength, Sam leaped and caught the top, scrambled up and dropped, and then he ran madly. uh, Earthling, can you snooze it? Um, Sword blazing in hand, Round a bend and up a winding tunnel. The news that his master was still alive roused him. Hi, Penguin! Hi! Earthling, can you snooze the ad, please? I am doing okay. I wouldn't say well, but I'm okay. Hey, not yet. I'm not done. Can you snooze the ad? Thank you. um, the news that his master was still alive roused him to a last effort beyond thought of weariness. um, he could not see anything ahead, for this new passage twisted and turned constantly. But he thought he was catching the two orcs up. Their voices were growing nearer again. Now they seemed like quite close. That's what I'm going to do, said Shagrat in angry tones. Put him right up in the top chamber. What for? Growled Gorbak. Haven't you any lockups down below? He's going out of harm's way, I tell you, answered Shagrat. See, he's precious. I don't trust all my lads, and none of yours, nor you neither. When you are mad for fun, he's going where I want him, and where you won't come, if you don't keep civil. Up to the top, I say, he'll be safe there. Will he? Said Sam. You're forgetting the great big elvish warrior that's loose. And with that he raced round the last corner, only to find that by some trick of the tunnel, or of the hearing which the ring gave him, he had misjudged the distance. The two orc figures were still some way ahead. He could see them now, black and squat against a red glare. The passage ran straight at last, up an incline, and at the end, wide open, were great double doors, leading probably to deep chambers far below the high horn of the tower. Already the orcs with their burden had passed inside. Gorbek and Shagrat were drawing near the gate. Sam heard a burst of hoarse singing, blaring of horns, and bangings of gongs, a hideous clamor. Gorbek and Shagrat were already on the threshold. Sam yelled and brandished Sting, but his little voice was drowned in the tumult. No one heeded him. The great doors slammed to. Boom! The bars of iron fell into place inside. Clang! The gate was shut. Sam hurled himself against the bolted brazen plates and fell senseless to the ground. He was out in the darkness. Frodo was alive, but taken by the enemy. Dum dum dum! And that is it for the second book. There we go. Of the Lord of the Rings. So, next time we are gonna start on this. And I will introduce a new bookmark for the next book. But that will all be for next time, next Sunday, the 5th of January. I actually have something. I need to find it. Where is it? There. I got gift wrapping. So yes, all of that for next time, and all of us having fun together, having a nice week, and just being here for a lovely end to the week. Just to have a relaxing time together. And I think I know where to go. So if we can get the raid messages, please and thank you, then we will go and say hi to a person which we have not been with yet. So, yes. Who can start? I'm confused. But yeah, okay. So yeah, next time, next Sunday, I hope you all will have a lovely week, a lovely new year, and remember to take care of yourself. And still, if we reach 500 followers by the end of year, there will be a giveaway of a mug. So have a lovely, lovely week. And I'm gonna see you all on next Sunday. And now we are gonna go and say hi to 9.5. And everyone remember to grab your raid messages and join me in going to our raid. Boom, boom, boom. I hope to see you all over there. And we are going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.